He made her life hell for 6 months. Every day, the Korean Mafia boss found new ways to humiliate the black maid who dared work in his mansion. Then he saw the birthmark on her shoulder blade, and everything he thought he knew about his past shattered like glass. Sometimes the person you hate most is the person you've been searching for your entire life. This story contains bullying, class discrimination, enemies to lovers, found family, and a romance that starts with cruelty and ends with obsession. Comment "show me" if you're ready for this journey. The coffee was never hot enough. That's what Kang Ji-won said every single morning when Aria Morrison placed the cup on his desk. Never mind that she'd burned her fingers testing the temperature. Never mind that she'd timed it perfectly, exactly 3 minutes after the French press, poured into the bone china cup he insisted upon, carried up 3 flights of stairs to his private office. It was never hot enough. "Again," he'd say in that cold, clipped voice, not even looking up from his laptop, just a dismissive wave of his hand like she was a fly he couldn't be bothered to swat. And this time, try to get it right. Aria would take the cup, still steaming, almost scalding, and walk back down 3 flights of stairs, her jaw clenched so tight her teeth ached. She'd pour it out, make a fresh pot, and bring it back up. And he'd take 1 sip and say, "Better. You can go." Never thank you, never please, just commands and criticism. That was her life now. 6 months ago, Aria Morrison had been desperate. Desperate enough to take a job as a live-in maid for one of Seoul's wealthiest and most dangerous men. The pay was extraordinary, 3 times what she could make anywhere else. Enough to send money home to her mother in Atlanta, enough to pay for her younger brother's college tuition, enough to maybe finally start saving for her own dreams. The job posting had been clear. Discreet household staff needed for high-profile employer, must be detail-oriented, professional, and comfortable with long hours. Background check required, live-in position, generous compensation. What it hadn't mentioned was that her employer would be Kang Ji-won, the 32-year-old heir to one of South Korea's most powerful crime families, a man whose name was whispered in fear in certain circles, a man who'd gone legitimate by funneling his family's money into tech investments in real estate, while maintaining connections that made even the police look the other way. And it definitely hadn't mentioned that he would hate her on sight. Aria couldn't figure out why. She dealt with difficult employers before, rich people who treated staff like furniture, people who never learned her name, people who left messes and expected magic. She could handle that, but Ji-won's treatment went beyond typical employer coldness. It was personal. The way he looked at her, like she was an insult to his existence. The way he found fault with everything she did, no matter how perfectly she did it. The way he'd switch from Korean to English mid-sentence, just to make sure she understood exactly how disappointed she was in her work. "The library shelves are dusty," he'd say, running a finger along wood she'd polished for 2 hours. "Do it again. These flowers are wilting. They'd been arranged that morning. Replace them. This room smells off." It smelled like the expensive cleaning products he insisted she use. "Air it out." The other staff, the chef, the driver, the security team, they watched with a mixture of pity and confusion. Mrs. Han, the older Korean woman who managed the household staff, had pulled Aria aside after the first week. "I don't understand it. Mr. Kang, he is demanding, yes, but never cruel, never like this. With you, it's different. It's like..." She'd trailed off, searching for words. "Like you remind him of something he wants to forget." But Aria hadn't done anything. She'd never met Kang Ji-won before arriving in Seoul. She had no connection to him, no history, no reason for this targeted hostility. She just needed the job. So she endured. The mansion was a fortress disguised as a home. 20,000 square feet of steel, glass, and marble perched on a hillside overlooking Seoul. Every surface gleamed, every corner held cameras, every entrance required fingerprint access. It was beautiful in the way a diamond is beautiful, cold, hard, perfect, untouchable. Aria's room was in the staff wing, small but comfortable, with a window overlooking the garden. It was more space than she'd had in years, and the bed was better than any she'd ever owned. Small mercies. She woke every morning at 5, showered, dressed in the plain black uniform all staff wore, pulled her natural hair back into a tight bun. By 5:30, she was in the kitchen, coordinating with Chef Park about the day's meals. By 6 o'clock, she was cleaning the main living spaces. By 7 o'clock, she was preparing Jiwon's breakfast. Always the same: rice, grilled fish, soup, kimchi, and that damned coffee. Jiwon emerged at exactly 7:30 a.m. every morning, dressed in suits that cost more than her yearly salary, his black hair perfectly styled, his face unreadable, the kind of handsome that came with a warning label. He'd sit at the dining table and Arya would serve his breakfast in complete silence. He never spoke to her unless it was to criticize, never looked at her unless it was to find fault. This morning was no different. Arya placed the coffee cup beside his plate with steady hands, careful not to let it clink against the saucer. She'd learned that sounds irritated him. Everything irritated him when it came to her. Jiwon lifted the cup, took one sip and set it down with that expression, the one that said she'd failed again. "Cold," he said flatly. Arya's jaw tightened. The coffee was not cold. She'd tested it herself. But she said nothing, just reached for the cup. "Leave it," Jiwon said suddenly, his eyes, dark, calculating, fixed on her for the first time that morning. "I want to ask you something." Arya froze, her hand hovering over the cup. In 6 months, Jiwon had never wanted to ask her anything except why she was so incompetent. "Yes, sir?" "Why are you here?" His voice was cold, clinical, like he was interrogating a suspect. "In Seoul, in Korea. Why would someone like you take a job like this?" "Someone like you?" The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Arya straightened, meeting his gaze directly. She learned early not to show fear around predators. "I needed the work, the pay is good." "That's not an answer." He leaned back in his chair, studying her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "You have a college degree. I saw your background check. Bachelor's in art history from Emory University. You could work in museums, galleries, education. Instead, you're cleaning toilets for a man you've never met in a country where you don't speak the language. Why?" "Because my mother has medical bills. Because my brother deserves a future. Because sometimes survival means swallowing your pride and doing what needs to be done." But she didn't say any of that. Instead, Arya said simply, "Because not everyone gets to pursue their dreams, Mr. King. Some of us have responsibilities." Something flickered in Jiwon's eyes. Something that might have been recognition or respect or anger. She couldn't tell. "Responsibilities," he repeated softly. Then, dismissively, "Get out. And next time, the coffee should actually be hot." Arya took the cup, still warm in her hands, and left. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Arya had spent the entire morning deep cleaning Jiwon's private study, a room she was only allowed to enter when he was out of the house. It was the most personal space in the mansion, filled with books in Korean and English, artwork that probably cost millions, and photographs carefully displayed on floating shelves. She worked methodically, dusting each book spine, polishing the dark wood desk, cleaning the floor-to-ceiling windows until they sparkled. The smells, like leather and expensive cologne, sandalwood and something darker, more complex. She was careful with everything, especially the photographs. Most showed Jiwon at various ages, a serious child in school uniforms, a teenager with the same cold expression, a young man in his 20s already radiating power. There were a few photos of an older couple she assumed were his parents, both deceased according to the staff gossip. And then there was one photograph that didn't fit. It was older, the colors slightly faded, a young Korean couple, maybe in their 20s, standing in front of a small house. The woman was heavily pregnant, smiling brightly. The man had his arm around her, protective, proud, and in the woman's arms was a little boy, maybe 3 years old, with serious eyes and a solemn expression. Arya picked up the frame to dust beneath it, studying the image. The little boy looked familiar somehow, though she couldn't place why. Maybe it was just that all serious children looked the same, old souls trapped in young bodies. She set it down carefully and moved to the next shelf. That's when it happened. Her elbow caught the edge of a decorative box, she never even saw it, and suddenly the box was falling, tumbling through the air in what felt like slow motion, and then hitting the marble floor with a crack that echoed through the study like a gunshot. Arya's heart stopped. The box had shattered, pieces of lacquered wood scattered across the floor, and among them, dozens of photographs spilled out like accusations. No, no, no! Arya dropped to her knees, frantically trying to gather the photos, to collect the broken pieces, to somehow undo what she'd just done. What the hell do you think you're doing? The voice was ice and fury. Arya looked up to find Ji-won standing in the doorway of the study, his face a mask of cold rage. She hadn't heard him come home, hadn't heard him climb the stairs, and now he was staring at the broken box, at the scattered photographs, at her kneeling among the wreckage like a thief caught mid-crime. "I'm sorry," Arya said quickly, still gathering photos with shaking hands. "I was dusting and I accidentally—" "Get away from those." Ji-won's voice cut through her explanation like a blade. "Don't touch them. Don't touch anything." Arya froze, a photograph still clutched in her hand. She looked down at it automatically. Another old picture, this one of a baby in someone's arms, wrapped in a yellow blanket with a distinctive pattern of stars. "Don't touch them." Ji-won crossed the room in 3 strides and yanked the photograph from her with enough force to tear the corner. "Do you have any idea what you've just destroyed? That box was over 100 years old. It belonged to my grandmother, and you... He stopped abruptly, breathing hard, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. When he spoke again, his voice was deadly quiet. "You're fired. Pack your things. I want you out of this house within the hour." The words hit Arya like a physical blow. Fired, just like that. 6 months of swallowing her pride, of enduring his cruelty, of working harder than she'd ever worked, gone because of one accident. "Mr. Kang, please," Arya stood, trying to keep her voice steady. "I know the box was valuable and I take full responsibility. I'll pay for it. You can take it out of my salary, all of it, I don't care. But please don't fire me. I need this job. My family needs—" "I don't care about your family." Ji-won's eyes were flat, emotionless. "I don't care about your excuses. You've been nothing but a disappointment since the day you arrived. This is the final proof that you don't belong here." Something inside Arya snapped. 6 months of his contempt and cruelty and casual dismissal, 6 months of swallowing her dignity and accepting treatment she'd never accept from anyone else, all because she needed the money. 6 months of wondering what she'd done to deserve his hatred. And now this. "You know what?" Arya's voice came out sharp, angry, all the professionalism she'd maintained finally cracking. "You're right. I don't belong here. Not because I'm not good enough. I'm damn good at my job, and we both know it. But because you've made it clear from day one that you don't want me here, and I'm tired of pretending I don't know why." Ji-won's eyes narrowed. "Watch yourself. No, you don't get to tell me what to do anymore. You want to fire me? Fine, I'm fired. But first, I'm going to say what I should have said months ago." She was breathing hard now, her hands shaking with adrenaline and anger and something like liberation. "You've treated me like garbage since I got here. Not because I do bad work. Everyone else on your staff will tell you I'm the best they've seen. Not because I'm unprofessional or lazy or any of the things you've implied. You treat me like this because of what I look like, because I'm black, because seeing me in your perfect mansion offends your sensibilities." "You don't know what you're talking about," Ji-won said, but something in his voice had shifted. Don't I? Arya laughed, bitter and sharp. I've worked for rich people before, Mr. Kang. I've dealt with racism disguised as standards. I know what it looks like, and maybe in Korea you can get away with it. Maybe nobody calls you on it because you're rich and powerful and dangerous, but I'm done pretending it's okay. She bent down and started gathering the photographs again, her movements sharp with anger. I'll clean up this mess because it's my fault, and then I'll leave. But don't pretend you're firing me because of a broken box. Fire me because you can't stand the sight of me. At least be honest about it. Arya was shoving photographs back into a pile when Ji-won suddenly crouched beside her, his hand shooting out to grab her wrist. "Stop," he said, his voice strange. "Just stop moving." Arya tried to pull her wrist away, but his grip was iron. "Let go of me." But Ji-won wasn't listening. He was staring at her arm, at the place where her uniform sleeve had ridden up during her angry movements, exposing her forearm and part of her upper arm. "Your shoulder," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Show me your shoulder." "What? No, let go." "Please." The words seemed to cost him something. His eyes lifted to hers, and for the first time since she'd met him, there was something other than coldness there, something that looked almost like desperation. "Please, I need to see your shoulder." There was something in his voice that made Arya stop struggling, something that transformed this from a power play into something else entirely. Slowly, she pulled her arm from his grip and reached up to tug the collar of her uniform aside, exposing her left shoulder blade. Ji-won went absolutely still. There, on the brown skin of her shoulder, was a birthmark, not large, maybe the size of a quarter, but distinctively shaped. It looked almost like a crescent moon with a small star beside it. Arya had always thought it looked like something from a child's drawing. My celestial mark, her mother had always called it, a kiss from the universe. Ji-won was staring at it like it was a ghost. His hand reached out, slowly, carefully, like he thought she might disappear, and his fingers traced the edge of the birthmark so gently she barely felt it. "It's you," he whispered. "After all these years, it's really you." Arya pulled away, adjusting her uniform, her heart hammering. "What are you talking about?" But Ji-won didn't answer. He was gathering the scattered photographs with shaking hands, sorting through them frantically until he found the one he was looking for, the image of the baby in the yellow blanket with stars. He held it out to Arya with the hand that trembled. "This baby," he said, his voice raw. "This is you. The blanket, I remember it because my mother made it. She loved stars and moons. And this," he pointed at the edge of the photograph where a tiny shoulder was visible. "Even in the picture, you can see the birthmark, the same shape, the same place." Arya took the photograph, her mind reeling. The baby in the image was black, brown skin, tight curls, wide eyes, maybe 6 months old, wrapped in a yellow blanket covered in celestial patterns. "This isn't..." Arya shook her head. "This can't be me. I don't have any baby pictures. My mother said they were lost when we moved, and I've never been to Korea before 6 months ago. You're mistaken." "I'm not mistaken." Ji-won's voice was certain, absolute. "I know because I've been looking for you for 23 years, since the day you disappeared." The birthmark, the photograph, the 23 years of searching, everything you thought you knew about this story just exploded. Ji-won reveals the shocking connection between them, the yellow blanket's heartbreaking story, the family Arya never knew she had, why he's been cruel for 6 months. The reason will wreck you. If you're shook right now, comment the birthmark below. Like this story if you need to know what happens next. Share this with someone who loves enemies to lovers with a twist. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Ji-won stood abruptly and moved to his desk, pulling out a drawer that Arya had never seen him open. From it, he extracted a worn leather journal, its pages yellowed with age. "Sit down," he said, and for once, it wasn't a command, it was a request, almost pleading. Arya sat in one of the leather chairs facing the desk, the photograph still clutched in her hand. Her mind was spinning, trying to make sense of what was happening. This had to be a mistake, some bizarre coincidence. Birthmarks weren't unique. Lots of people had crescent-shaped marks. But even as she thought it, she knew. The way Ji-won was looking at her, the way his hands shook as he opened a journal, this wasn't a mistake. "My name is Kang Ji-won, but that's not the name I was born with. I was born Lee Ji-won, son of Lee Min-ho and Kim Sora. They weren't wealthy, they weren't criminals. My father was a taxi driver, my mother was a seamstress. We lived in a small apartment in Itaewon. He opened the journal, showing her pages filled with Korean handwriting. Photos were tucked between the pages, the same photos from the broken box. When I was 9 years old, my parents fostered a baby, a little girl. His eyes met Arya's. Your name then was Arya Morrison. Your mother was a soldier stationed at the U.S. military base in Korea. She was single, young, struggling. She'd requested an emergency deployment back to the States to care for her own mother who was sick, but she couldn't take you with her immediately. There were custody issues, paperwork, complications, so she arranged for temporary foster care until she could send for you. Arya's breath caught. Her mother had been in the military, had been stationed in Korea, but she'd never talked about it, never mentioned foster care or leaving Arya behind, or... My parents loved you, Ji-won continued, his voice softer now. I was 9 and suddenly I had a little sister. You were 6 months old, always smiling, always reaching for me. My mother would dress you in clothes she made herself. That yellow blanket with stars, she sewed it for you. She said you needed celestial protection. He pulled out another photograph. Arya as a toddler, maybe 1 year old, being held by a Korean woman with a beautiful smile. The woman was kissing the top of Arya's curly hair, her expression full of love. That's my mother. She used to sing to you every night, Korean lullabies. You'd fall asleep in her arms and she'd trace your birthmark and tell me it meant you were special, chosen by the moon. Arya's hand unconsciously went to her shoulder, touching the mark through her uniform. I don't remember any of this. You were too young, but I remember everything. His voice roughened. I remember coming home from school and you'd crawl to the door to greet me. I remember my mother teaching me how to feed you, how to hold you safely. I remember my father saying we should adopt you properly, make you a Lee officially. He flipped through more pages, showing her a documented timeline written in Korean with English notes in the margins. Your mother was supposed to come back for you after 3 months, but 3 months turned into 6. 6 months turned into 9. She kept sending letters saying there were delays, complications, that she was fighting to get clearance to bring you home. My parents didn't mind. They loved you. I loved you. You were my sister. Ji-won's hands clenched on the journal. And then one day, you were gone. What do you mean gone? I mean you vanished. His eyes were dark with old pain. I was 9 years old. I came home from school and you weren't there. My mother was crying. My father was on the phone with the authorities. They said your mother had come in the middle of the night with emergency custody papers. She'd taken you back to America. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. He pulled out a letter, the paper fragile with age. It was in English, dated 23 years ago. Dear Min-ho and Sora, I am so sorry. I know this is sudden. I know I promised I would coordinate the transition better, but my mother passed away yesterday, and I need to get home immediately. The Army has approved my emergency leave, only if I bring Arya with me. I came tonight because I couldn't wait any longer. Thank you for everything you've done for her. Thank you for loving her when I couldn't be there. She will always have a home in my heart because of you. Please tell Ji-won I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodbye. Tell him Arya will remember him, even if she doesn't know it. With deepest gratitude, Sergeant Diane Morrison. Arya's hand trembled as she read her mother's name, Diane Morrison. Her mother. This was real. My parents were devastated, Ji-won continued, but they understood. Family comes first. They hoped your mother would stay in touch, maybe send pictures, let us visit, but we never heard from her again. All the contact information she'd given us, the phone number, the address, none of it worked. It was like you'd disappeared completely. He closed the journal carefully. My father tried to find you, spent years writing letters to the Army, trying to track down Sergeant Morrison, but she'd separated from the service, changed addresses, vanished into America. He died when I was 15, never knowing what happened to you. My mother died 2 years later. Heart attack, but I think it was really heartbreak. She never got over losing you." Jiwon's voice cracked on the last words, and Arya saw tears he was fighting to control. "I inherited money from distant relatives, the Kangs. They were wealthy, connected, not entirely legal. I took their name and their resources, and I used every connection they had to keep searching for you. I hired investigators, I searched military databases. I tracked down every Diane Morrison in America, every Arya Morrison, every combination. 23 years of searching." He looked up at her, and his eyes were red. "And 6 months ago, you walked through my door. Same birthmark, same face, older, but I could still see that baby in your eyes. And I thought I was going insane because you didn't recognize me. You didn't remember any of this. I was a stranger. I am a stranger. I don't remember any of this." "I know," Jiwon's voice was thick with emotion, "and that's what made me so angry. Not at you, at the universe, at fate, at the cruelty of having you back after all these years, but having you look at me like I was nothing, like we'd never been family." He stood and walked to the window, his back to her. "I treated you terribly, I know that. I was cruel and unfair, and I made your life hell. It wasn't because of your race, Arya. It was because every time I looked at you, I saw my little sister. I saw my mother holding you. I saw everything I'd lost, and you didn't remember any of it. Why didn't you just tell me?" Arya's voice came out barely above a whisper. "Because I needed to be sure." Jiwon turned back to face her. "I needed to see the birthmark to know for certain, and you always kept it covered. Every day for 6 months, I waited for a glimpse, for proof, and I hated myself for not just asking, for not just telling you the truth. But I was afraid. What if I was wrong? What if I told you this story and you thought I was insane? What if you ran?" Arya stood on shaking legs, the photograph still in her hand. She looked at the baby in the yellow blanket, at the birthmark visible on its tiny shoulder, at the face that could have been hers. "I need to call my mother," she said. Diane Morrison answered on the 3rd ring. "Baby, it's early there. Is everything okay?" Arya was in her room, the door closed, her phone on speaker. Jiwon stood nearby, having followed her, but keeping his distance, respecting her need for space while clearly desperate to hear her out. "Mom, I need you to tell me the truth about something." Arya's voice was steady, but her hands shook. "When I was a baby, were we in Korea? Were you stationed there?" The silence on the other end was answer enough. "Mom? Who told you about that?" Her mother voice was careful, guarded. "Please just tell me the truth. Was I in foster care? With a Korean family named Lee?" Another long pause, then, "Yes." Arya's breath left her in a rush. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" "Because it didn't matter, baby. You were too young to remember. And her mother broke. "I couldn't talk about it. Losing my mother, having to rip you away from the family who loved you, it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. The Lees were good people. They loved you so much. And I took you in the middle of the night like a thief because I couldn't face saying goodbye." "There was a boy," Arya said softly, 9 years old. "Do you remember him?" "Jiwon." Her mother said the name like a prayer. "He was so good with you, used to carry you around like you were made of glass. When I came to get you that night, he woke up, stood in the hallway in his pajamas and just stared at me with these big, serious eyes. Didn't cry, didn't make a scene, just watched me take you and said, 'You promise she'll be happy.' And I promised him. I promised you'd be happy." Arya looked at Jiwon, whose face had gone pale. He'd heard every word. "I changed our contact information after we got back to the States, changed our phone number, moved addresses 3 times in 2 years. I told myself it was because I needed a fresh start, but the truth is I couldn't face them asking about you, couldn't face their love for you when I was struggling so hard just to keep us afloat after Mom died. It was selfish and cruel, and I've regretted it every day since. Mom? Aria's voice was gentle. That boy, Jiwon, he's here. He's been looking for me for 23 years, and I've been working for him for 6 months without knowing who he was. The sound her mother made was somewhere between a sob and a laugh. Oh my God, baby. Is he okay? Did he grow up okay? Aria looked at Jiwon, this powerful, dangerous man who'd treated her so cruelly because he'd been drowning in grief and recognition. He's okay, Mom. He's okay. Can I talk to him? Please, baby. I need to apologize. I need to explain. Aria held out the phone. She wants to talk to you. Jiwon took the phone with trembling hands. Mrs. Morrison? Whatever her mother made Jiwon's face crumple. He sank onto the edge of Aria's bed, listening, and then he was crying, really crying, shoulders shaking, tears streaming down his face. No, it's okay. I understand. You did what you had to do. I know. She's happy. She's beautiful and strong and everything you wanted for her. I promise. He spoke in Korean for a few minutes, his voice thick with emotion, and Aria heard her mother responding in broken Korean she didn't know her mother remembered. They talked for 20 minutes while Aria stood by the window processing everything she'd learned. When Jiwon finally handed back the phone, his eyes were red but somehow lighter, like a weight had been lifted. She wants to talk to you again, he said softly. Baby? Her mother said when Aria put the phone back to her ear. I told Jiwon the truth, that I never stopped thinking about his family, that I kept the letters they sent in those first few months before I changed addresses. I have pictures of you with them. I couldn't look at them for years, but I kept them. I'll send you everything. Okay. Aria didn't know what else to say. And baby, I know this is complicated, but the Lees, they were your family. They loved you. Don't let guilt or confusion take that away from you. Whatever you feel about Jiwon, about this situation, those feelings are valid. You hear me? I hear you. I love you, baby. Love you too, Mom. Are you crying? Because I'm crying. 23 years, an entire childhood spent searching, a mother's guilt, a foster family's love. Now they're face to face with a truth that changes everything. Jiwon chose Aria the letters he wrote for 21 years, the home his parents dreamed of building for her, videos that will make you sob, the moment everything shifts between them. Comment, I'm not crying, you're crying, if this hit you in the feels. Double tap if you believe in fate bringing people back together. Share this emotional journey with your friends. Subscribe now because the story is really getting complicated. Do you think Aria can forgive Jiwon for those 6 months of cruelty? Comment your thoughts below. After she hung up, Aria and Jiwon stood in silence. The revelation hung between them, too large and strange to fully process. Everything had changed and nothing had changed. She was still a maid, he was still her employer, but now they were something else, something neither of them knew how to name. I should leave, Aria said finally. You fired me, remember? You're not fired. Jiwon's voice was rough from crying. You were never really fired. I was angry and hurt and said things I didn't mean. That seems to be my specialty. You can't just take it back. You can't treat me the way you did and then act like everything's fine because of a birthmark and some old photographs. I know. He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly exhausted. I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me. What I did was unforgivable. I bullied you. I made your life miserable. I used my power to hurt you because I was too much of a coward to face the truth. You have every right to hate me. I don't hate you, Aria said, and was surprised to find it was true. I'm angry. I'm confused. I feel like my entire life just got turned inside out, but I don't hate you. Jiwon looked at her with something like hope. Then stay, please. Not as a maid. God, not as a maid. I can't believe I had you cleaning toilets when you're... He trailed off, shaking his head. Just stay. Give me a chance to explain everything, to show you the family you don't remember, to make up for how I treated you. And if I don't want to be part of your family, if I just want to be Aria Morrison, woman who took a job in Seoul and had some weird cosmic coincidence happen, what then? Then I respect that, he said, a quiet, sincere voice. I'll give you a severance package that's more than fair. I'll write you a reference letter that will get you any job you want. I'll help you transition to whatever comes next. But please, don't decide right now. Give me a week, 7 days, to show you who my parents were, who we were together. Then you can make your choice. Aria wanted to say no, wanted to pack her bags and run from this impossible situation, but something stopped her. Maybe it was the photograph still clutched in her hand. Maybe it was the memory of her mother's voice, saying the Lees loved you so much. Maybe it was the look in Jiwon's eyes, vulnerable, desperate, terrified of losing her again. 1 week, she said. But we do this my way. No more employer-employee dynamic. No more you ordering me around. We're equals, or this doesn't happen at all. Equals, Jiwon agreed immediately. Whatever you need. And you tell me everything, the whole truth about your life, your family, what happened after I left. I want to understand who you became. Everything, he promised, starting now if you want. Aria looked at the man before her, no longer her cruel employer, no longer a stranger, but not yet family. Something in between, something undefined. Okay, she said, tell me about your mother. What was she like? Jiwon's face softened. She was the kindest person I've ever known. They talked until dawn. Jiwon told her everything about his mother, Kim Sora, who'd been a seamstress with dreams of opening her own shop, about his father, Lee Min-ho, who drove a taxi 16 hours a day but always came home with a smile, about their tiny apartment in Itaewon, where the walls were thin but the love was thick. My mother couldn't have more children after me. Something went wrong during my birth. She never talked about it, but I knew it hurt her. When they got the call about fostering you, she cried for an hour. Happy tears. She said it was fate bringing her the daughter she'd always wanted. He showed Aria more photographs from the journal. His mother holding baby Aria, their faces pressed together, both smiling. His father making silly faces to make toddler Aria laugh. 9-year-old Jiwon carefully feeding Aria with a tiny spoon, his tongue sticking out in concentration. You were obsessed with my hair, Jiwon said, touching one photo tenderly. You'd grab it and pull, and I'd pretend it hurt, and you'd laugh like it was the funniest thing in the world. My mother would have to pry your fingers open one by one. Aria stared at the photos, trying to find some spark of memory. But there was nothing, just images of a life she'd lived but couldn't recall. It was like looking at someone else's childhood. After you left, Jiwon continued, his voice dropping, my mother couldn't go into the room you'd slept in. She kept all your things exactly as they were. The clothes she'd made, the toys, your crib. My father would find her in there sometimes, just sitting on the floor, holding the yellow blanket and crying. Jiwon, I need to tell you this part, he said firmly. You need to understand what happened, why I became what I am. He stood and walked to the window, watching the sun rise over Seoul. My father threw himself into searching for you. He spent money we didn't have on private investigators, wrote letters to American military bases, made phone calls. He was a taxi driver, Aria. He didn't have connections or resources, but he tried everything. When I was 13, he drove a passenger who turned out to be connected to the Kang family, a crime syndicate that ran parts of Seoul. The passenger left a briefcase in the taxi. My father found it, opened it to look for ID, and discovered it was full of cash, millions of won. Jiwon's reflection in the window looked haunted. My father could have kept it. We were broke, desperate. But he tracked down the passenger and returned every bill. The passenger was so impressed by his honesty that he introduced my father to the Kang family patriarch. That's how we got connected to them. The Kangs offered my father money for returning the briefcase. He asked instead for help finding you. The patriarch liked that, a man who valued family over money. He assigned some people to help search. They never found you, but the connection was made. When my father died 2 years later, heart attack while driving his taxi, the Kangs took care of my mother and me, paid for my father's funeral, made sure we had food and housing. He turned back to face her. The patriarch's son, Kang Doyan, became my mentor. He was only 10 years older than me, but he was smart, ruthless, and he saw potential in me. He taught me business, strategy, how to read people, how to use power. When I turned 18, he offered me a position in the organization. I took it. Why? Arya asked. You could have done anything. You were smart enough for university, legitimate work. Because the Kangs had resources, Ji-won said simply. They had connections in America, in government, in places my father never could have reached, and they promised me that if I worked for them, they'd help me find you. So I became what I needed to be. I got my hands dirty, I did things I'm not proud of. I built power and wealth and fear. He moved closer to her, his eyes intense. And then Doyan was killed, a rival gang 5 years ago. His last words to me were to take over his operations, to go legitimate, to use the money and power we'd built for something better. He left me everything. I took the Kang name to honor him, laundered the money through tech investments in real estate, and became respectable. On paper. But you kept searching for me, Arya said. Always. Every day for 23 years. The investigators I hired, the databases I accessed, the money I spent, it all went toward finding you. And then, 6 months ago, you applied for a job through my household staffing agency. They sent your file. I saw your name. Arya Morrison, age 23, born in Seoul, South Korea, mother Diane Morrison. It couldn't be coincidence. He pulled out a thin file from the journal. This is your employment application. I stared at your photo for hours. You looked so different from the baby I remembered. Grown, beautiful, strong. But I couldn't be sure. The birthmark was the only proof. So I hired you, and I waited to see it. And I became a monster because I needed you close, but couldn't face the possibility that you weren't really you. Arya processed this, the weight of it settling into her bones. You built an empire to find me. I built an empire because of you, Ji-won corrected. You were the reason I survived losing my parents. The thought of finding you, of bringing you home, it kept me going through everything. Even when the search seemed hopeless, even when years passed with no leads, I kept looking because giving up on you meant admitting my family was really gone. The sun was fully up now, light streaming through the window. Arya looked at Ji-won, really looked at him, and saw not the cruel employer or the dangerous criminal, but the 9-year-old boy who'd lost his little sister and spent his whole life trying to find her again. I don't know how to be your sister, she said quietly. I don't remember your parents, or that apartment, or any of it. I'm not that baby anymore. I know. Ji-won's voice was thick with emotion. And I'm not asking you to be. I'm just asking for a chance to know who you are now, the woman you became, the person my parents would be so proud of. Arya felt tears prick her eyes. They would? Are you kidding? Ji-won smiled, and it transformed his face. It was the first real smile she'd seen from him, and it made him look younger, softer. You got a degree while working 2 jobs. You send money home to your mother every month, even though it means you live on nothing. You crossed the world for a job you hated because your family needed you. My mother would have loved you. So much. The tears spilled over. Arya wiped at them angrily. I hate that I don't remember her. Then let me help you remember. Ji-won moved closer, careful, like approaching a skittish animal. I have videos. My father liked to record everything. I have footage of my mother singing to you, of you taking your first steps, of our last Christmas together. I've watched them 1,000 times. Let me show you. Arya nodded, not trusting her voice. They spent the rest of the morning watching videos on Jiwon's laptop, and Arya cried through all of them, not from grief, but from recognition. Not memories exactly, but something deeper, a cellular knowledge that she'd been loved, that she'd belonged to these people. In the videos, Sora sang with a beautiful voice, her Korean lullabies soft and sweet. Minho made exaggerated faces and spoke in silly voices to make baby Arya giggle. And young Jiwon was so careful, so gentle, treating his foster sister like she was the most precious thing in the world. "You were a good brother," Arya said when the last video ended. "I tried to be." Jiwon closed the laptop. "I want to be again, if you'll let me." Jiwon wasn't just searching for Arya, he was keeping his family's love alive. Every dollar earned, every connection made, every dangerous choice was for her. Jiwon takes Arya to the cemetery where her parents are buried. The Hanok house built from their dreams. Arya reads 21 years of letters, grab tissues. The moment she realizes her feelings are changing. Comment, "I'm invested" if you're all in on this story. Like if you believe love can grow from the most broken beginnings. Hit subscribe because the story is getting more interesting. Should Arya forgive him quickly or make him work for it? Comment, "forgive" or "work for it." The week that followed was surreal. Jiwon closed down his schedule, canceled meetings, postponed deals, ignored calls from associates. He dedicated himself entirely to Arya, to showing her the pieces of a life she couldn't remember. On the second day, he took her to Itaewon, to the neighborhood where his parents had lived. The building was still there, though renovated. They stood outside, and Jiwon pointed to a third-floor window. "That was our apartment, kitchen window. My mother would stand there watching for my father to come home from work, and when he pulled up, she'd send me running down to help him carry his things." They walked the streets, and Jiwon showed her everything. The playground where he'd pushed her on swings, the market where his mother bought vegetables, the small restaurant where they'd celebrated her first birthday with miyeokguk and seaweed soup. "You got it everywhere," Jiwon said, smiling at the memory. "In your hair, on your face, all over your clothes. My mother just laughed and said you were embracing your Korean side." On the third day, he took her to the cemetery. His parents were buried side by side on a hillside overlooking the city. Simple headstones with their names and dates. Fresh flowers, replaced weekly, Jiwon admitted. He'd been visiting every week for 17 years. Arya stood before the graves, reading the Korean characters she couldn't understand. Jiwon translated. Kim Sora, beloved wife and mother. Lee Min-ho, beloved husband and father. Together forever. "I added something to my mother's stone," Jiwon said quietly, pointing to a line at the bottom. It says, "Mother to 2 children, loved beyond measure." Arya's throat tightened. "I wish I could thank them." "You can," Jiwon gestured to the graves. "In Korean culture, we believe the dead can hear us. Talk to them. They're listening." So Arya knelt in the grass, feeling awkward and emotional, and strangely right, and spoke to the parents she didn't remember. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking. "Thank you for loving me when I had no one else. Thank you for the yellow blanket and the lullabies, and the way you made me part of your family. I'm sorry I don't remember. I'm sorry I left, but I promise I'll honor your memory. I promise I'll be the daughter you deserved." Jiwon knelt beside her, and together they bowed 3 times, traditional Korean respect to the deceased. On the 4th day, they stayed in the mansion, and Jiwon taught her to make kimchi jjigae, kimchi stew, his mother's recipe. She made this every Sunday, he explained, guiding Arya's hands as she cut the kimchi. You'd sit in your high chair and bang on the tray, and she'd give you little tastes on a spoon. You loved it, even though it was spicy. You'd scrunch up your face and make this noise. He imitated a baby's confused grunt, and Arya laughed. They cooked together, and it felt natural, easy, like they'd been doing it for years instead of days. Jiwon told her stories about his childhood, about his parents' love story, about growing up poor but happy in a 2-room apartment. He used to dance, Jiwon said, stirring the pot. Every Friday night after dinner, my father would put on old music and they'd dance in the kitchen, terribly. Neither of them could dance at all, but they'd laugh and step on each other's feet, and I'd watch from the doorway, feeling lucky. That sounds beautiful, Arya said. It was. Jiwon tasted the stew, nodded approval, and turned off the heat. I want that someday, that kind of love, the kind my parents had, where wealth doesn't matter and power doesn't matter, just two people choosing each other every single day. He looked at Arya, and something passed between them, something neither of them was ready to name. On the 5th day, Jiwon showed her the rest of the photographs. There were hundreds. His mother had documented everything. Baby Arya's first tooth, her first time trying solid food, her first time seeing snow through the window. Page after page of a love story between a family and a foster child they'd wanted to keep forever. My mother wrote letters, Jiwon said, handing her a stack of envelopes. To you. She started them the day you left, wrote one every month for 2 years, even though she had no address to send them to. Then, after she died, I found them in her closet. I kept writing them, one letter every month for 21 years. Arya stared at the stack. You wrote me letters for 21 years? I needed to tell you things about my life, about how the search was going, about missing you. So I wrote, even though I didn't know if I'd ever find you, even though you might not remember me. I wrote because you were still my sister. Distance and time didn't change that. Can I read them? They're yours, Jiwon said simply. Everything from my parents, the photos, the videos, the blanket I saved, it's all yours. I've been keeping it for you. That night, Arya stayed up reading letters, her mother's first, written in shaky handwriting through tears, apologizing for loving Arya so much, promising to never forget her. Then Jiwon's letters, starting when he was 11 years old, written in awkward English that improved over the years. Dear Arya, I am Jiwon. I'm 11 now. I miss you. Mom misses you. Dad misses you. We hope you are happy in America. We hope your mother is okay. We love you. Your brother, Jiwon. The letters chronicled his life, his father's death, his mother's grief, his recruitment into the Kang family, his education, his rise to power, and through it all, the constant theme, I'm still looking for you. I haven't given up. The most recent letter was dated 2 weeks ago. Dear Arya, you're here. You've been here for 6 months, and I still can't believe it. You walk through my house every day and I watch you, and I want to tell you everything, but I'm afraid. What if you think I'm crazy? What if you run? What if I finally found you after 23 years only to lose you again because I can't find the courage to speak? I've become someone my parents wouldn't recognize. Powerful, wealthy, feared. I built this empire to find you, but in the process, I lost the boy who used to carry you around on his shoulders. I don't know if that boy still exists. I don't know if you'd even want him if he did. But I need you to know, everything I am, everything I've done, it was all to bring you home. And now that you're here, I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to bridge 23 years of silence. So I treat you terribly. I push you away because I can't pull you close. I make you miserable because I'm terrified of making you run, and I hate myself for it. Tomorrow I'll do better. Tomorrow I'll find the courage to tell you the truth. But probably I won't. Probably I'll make your coffee too hot and criticize your work and bury my feelings under cruelty because that's all I know how to do anymore. I'm sorry for everything, for the boy I was and the man I became, for losing you and finding you and not knowing how to keep you. Your brother, whether you know it or not, Jiwon. Arya cried reading that letter, cried for the 9-year-old boy and the 32-year-old man, cried for the family torn apart and the strange, fragile thing they were building now. On the 6th day, Jiwon took her to meet the Kang family, what remains of them. There were cousins, aunts, uncles, all connected to the organization Jiwon had inherited. They gathered at a traditional Korean restaurant and Jiwon introduced Arya not as his employee or his friend, but as his sister, his family. They welcomed her with open arms, shared stories about Jiwon's rise through the ranks, toasted to family and second chances, and Arya realized that Jiwon hadn't just been searching for her, he'd been building a life he hoped she'd want to be part of. That evening, walking back to the car, Arya said, "They love you." "They respect me," Jiwon corrected. "There's a difference." "No, they love you. I saw it in how they looked at you, how they teased you, how they lit up when you talked about finding me." Jiwon was quiet for a long moment. "I've spent so long being what they needed me to be, strong, ruthless, unshakable. I forgot how to be anything else. Until you came back. You remind me that I used to be soft, that I used to care about more than power and control." "You still are soft," Arya said. "You just hide it better now." He looked at her, and in the streetlight his eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I don't want to hide it anymore, not from you." On the 7th day, Jiwon woke Arya before dawn. "Get dressed," he said, standing in her doorway. "Comfortable clothes. We're going on a trip." They drove for 2 hours outside Seoul, into the mountains. Jiwon wouldn't tell her where they were going, just smiled mysteriously and told her to trust him. They finally stopped at a small, traditional house, a hanok, nestled in the trees. It was beautiful, all wood and stone and curved roof tiles, with a garden full of flowers. "What is this?" Arya asked. "My parents' dream," Jiwon said. "They always wanted a house like this, somewhere quiet, away from the city. My mother would draw pictures of it, plan the garden, describe how the rooms would look. They were saving money slowly. After you left, my father put all the money he would have spent searching into this fund. When he died, I used that money to buy this land, built the house exactly how my mother had described. It took 8 years." He led her inside. The house was furnished simply but beautifully, all traditional Korean style. In the main room, there were photographs on the walls, all of them, the Lee family, baby Arya, the life they'd shared. "I come here sometimes," Jiwon said, "when the business gets too heavy, when I need to remember who I am underneath everything. This is where I keep their memory alive, where I keep our family alive." He turned to Arya. "And I want you to have it." "What?" "This house. It's yours. I'll put it in your name. Whether you decide to stay in Korea or go back to America, whether you want me in your life or not, this is yours, your inheritance, your piece of the family you don't remember." Arya walked through the rooms, touching the smooth wood, smelling the faint scent of incense, feeling the peace that permeated the space. In the bedroom, she found the yellow blanket with stars carefully displayed in a shadow box on the wall. "You kept it," she whispered. "I kept everything," Jiwon said from the doorway. "Every piece of you I could hold on to, just in case." Arya turned to face him. "The week's over." "I know." "You said I could make my choice." "I know," he repeated, and she could see the fear in his eyes, the terror that she'd choose to leave, that 7 days wouldn't be enough to overcome 6 months of cruelty. "Jiwon," Arya said carefully, "I need you to understand something. I don't remember being your sister. I can't magically become that baby again. That little girl who loved you and your parents, she's gone. Time took her." She saw his face fall, saw him brace for rejection. "But," Arya continued, "I can become someone new, someone who knows your story and honors it, someone who wants to understand the family she lost, someone," she took a breath, "someone who's starting to care about the man you are now, not just the boy you were." "Jiwon, Arya, I'm not ready to call you my brother," she said honestly. "That word feels too big, too loaded, but I'm ready to know you, really know you, not as an employee or a stranger, but as Jiwon, just Jiwon, and maybe with time we can figure out what we are to each other." Jiwon crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her into a hug. Fierce, desperate, the kind of hug that came from 23 years of missing someone. And Arya hugged him back. They stood like that for a long time, in the house built of dreams, surrounded by ghosts of the past and the fragile promise of the future. Jiwon didn't just search, he preserved. He built a sanctuary for memories. He kept faith when everyone else would have given up. Arya's feelings start to shift in a dangerous direction the moment she realizes she's falling for her foster brother. Ji-won's confession that will destroy you. The kiss that changes everything. Comment ready for the romance if you've been waiting for this. Smash that like button if this story has your heart. Share with everyone who loves slow burn, found family to lovers stories. Subscribe because this is where we go from family drama to romantic tension, and you do not want to miss it. 3 months later, Arya was still in Korea. She'd moved out of the staff wing into one of the guest suites, her own space, equal footing. Ji-won had hired a new household staff and insisted Arya pursue what she actually wanted to do. She'd started working at a small gallery in Itaewon, using her art history degree for the first time in years, and her Korean was improving daily. But most of her time was spent with Ji-won. They'd developed a routine. Coffee in the mornings, she made it now, perfectly hot, and he always said thank you. Dinners together when he wasn't traveling, weekends at the hanok working in the garden, cooking his mother's recipes, talking for hours. The cruelty was gone, replaced by something gentler. Ji-won showed her who he was beneath the power and fear. A man who liked terrible action movies and could recite poetry in 3 languages, who donated anonymously to foster care organizations, who still visited his parents' graves every week and told them about Arya's life. And slowly, carefully, Arya felt something shifting. It started small. The way her heart jumped when Ji-won smiled, the way she found herself thinking about him at work, the way his rare touches, a hand on her shoulder, helping her with her coat, made her skin feel electric. She tried to ignore it. This was her foster brother, sort of. The man who'd bullied her for 6 months. The complicated tangle of shared history and found family. She shouldn't feel this way. But feelings didn't care about should. The realization hit her on a Tuesday evening. They were in the hanok kitchen making japchae, stir-fried glass noodles. Ji-won was teaching her the proper way to prepare the vegetables, his hands guiding hers, his body close behind her. It was intimate in a way that made her breath catch. "Like this," he murmured, adjusting her grip on the knife. "Thin slices. My mother was very particular about the thickness." Arya was barely listening. She was too aware of his warmth, his scent, that same sandalwood, now familiar and comforting. The way his breath ghosted across her neck. "Arya," Ji-won's voice was concerned. "Are you okay? You're trembling." She set down the knife carefully and stepped away, needing distance. "I'm fine, just tired." But she wasn't fine. She was falling for him, had been falling for weeks, maybe months, and it was the most complicated, impossible thing she'd ever felt. Ji-won studied her with those dark, perceptive eyes. "Talk to me. We promised honesty, remember?" "I can't." "Why not?" "Because how do you tell someone that you're in love with them when the foundation of your relationship is a tragedy? When you're supposed to be siblings, sort of, but don't feel like siblings at all? When the lines are so blurred you can't see where family ends and something else begins?" "Arya." Ji-won moved closer, his voice soft. "Whatever you're feeling, you can tell me. I promise I won't. I think I'm falling in love with you, and I know that's wrong and complicated and probably just some weird trauma response to everything that's happened, but I can't stop it. Every day I'm around you, it gets stronger, and I don't know what to do with it." Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Arya couldn't look at him. She stared at the half-prepared vegetables, her face burning with humiliation. "I shouldn't have said anything. Can we just pretend? I've been in love with you since the day I saw your employment photo." Arya's head snapped up. "What?" Ji-won's face was open, vulnerable, every wall stripped away. "Not the baby version of you, not my foster sister. You, the woman in the photograph with the guarded eyes and proud tilt to her chin. I looked at you and thought, this is who she became, strong and beautiful and brave enough to cross the world alone. And I fell in love with that woman." He stepped closer. "That's why I was so cruel. because I was in love with you and convinced you were my sister, and it felt like the universe's worst joke. I couldn't have you as family because I didn't feel brotherly toward you, but I couldn't pursue you romantically because I thought you were family. So I made us both miserable. We're not actually related, Arya said, her heart hammering. Legally, biologically, we're not family. We're not, Jiwon agreed. You were fostered and not adopted. We shared no blood. My parents loved you, but you were with us for less than a year. If we're being technical, we're just two people who happened to live in the same house 2 decades ago. But emotionally, it's complicated, Jiwon finished. I know. Believe me, I've spent 3 months trying to untangle what I feel. Am I in love with you because of our history? Because I've been searching for you so long that my brain confused finding you with loving you? I've questioned everything. He cupped her face in his hands, and Arya's breath caught at the tenderness in the gesture. But here's what I know for certain. I love the way you laugh at bad jokes. I love how you're learning Korean just so you can talk to Mrs. Han in her own language. I love that you send half your paycheck to your mother, even though I told you I'd pay her medical bills myself. I love how you tend the garden at the Hanok like it's sacred ground. I love your strength and your kindness and the way you've forgiven me for being unforgivable. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I love you, Arya Morrison. Not because you're my foster sister, not because I've been searching for you, but because of who you are right now, in this moment, the woman you became without me. Arya's eyes filled with tears. This is crazy. People will judge us. They'll say it's wrong. Let them. Jiwon's voice was fierce. I've spent my entire life doing what other people expected, being the dutiful son, the ruthless boss, the man who never shows weakness. I'm done with that. If loving you is wrong, then I choose wrong. Your parents. My parents loved you, and they would want both of us to be happy. They wouldn't care about technical definitions of family. They'd care that we found each other again, that we're healing each other. Arya searched his face, looking for doubt, for hesitation, found only certainty. I'm terrified, she admitted. Me too, Jiwon smiled, and it was beautiful. But I've been terrified for 23 years. At least now I'm terrified with you instead of without you. If we do this, Arya said carefully, we do it right. No rushing, no pretending the complications don't exist. We take it slow and figure out what this is. Whatever you need, Jiwon promised. I've waited 23 years. I can wait as long as it takes. And if it doesn't work, if we try and it falls apart, then we'll deal with it together. His forehead pressed against hers, intimate and grounding. But Arya, I don't think it's going to fall apart. I think we're going to be disgustingly happy. I think we're going to build something beautiful from all this pain and confusion. I think we're going to prove that love doesn't care about how you started, only about how you choose to continue. Arya kissed him. It was soft and tentative and tasted like tears and possibility. Jiwon made a sound in his throat, surprise and relief and joy braided together, and kissed her back with the kind of gentleness that came from years of dreaming about this moment. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Arya said for the record, "Your mother's japchae is going to burn." Jiwon laughed, really laughed, head thrown back, the sound free and unrestrained. Or that 23 years of searching, 6 months of cruelty, 3 months of healing, and now they're choosing each other despite everything. Arya's gallery opening success, the necklace that matches her birthmark, Jiwon's promise for the future, the ending that will make you believe in second chances. Comment worth the wait if you've been dying for this moment. Like if you're crying happy tears right now. Share this love story that proves fate is real. Subscribe for the final show, the epilogue that ties everything together with the perfect bow. 1 year later. The gallery opening was a success. Arya's first curated exhibition, a collection of Korean and African American artists exploring themes of displacement and belonging, had drawn crowds all evening. Critics loved it, artists were celebrating, and Arya stood in the center of it all, radiant in a dress the color of midnight, accepting congratulations with grace and pride. Ji-won watched from the sidelines, his heart so full it ached. She'd come so far, from the scared woman who'd sent that first job application to this, confident, accomplished, thriving. She'd found her place in Seoul, built a career she loved, become fluent in Korean. She'd even started a foundation supporting foster children, using money Ji-won had set aside for her and connections he'd gladly provided. "She's incredible," Mrs. Han said, appearing at his elbow with champagne. "Your parents would be so proud." "They would," Ji-won agreed. "And of you too, Mr. Kang. Look how you've changed. You smile now. You laugh. You're not the cold, angry man who couldn't see what was right in front of him." Ji-won thought about the man he'd been a year ago. Cruel, miserable, drowning in unresolved grief. He barely recognized that person now. "She saved me," he said simply, "just by being who she is." Arya caught his eye across the room and smiled, that brilliant, unguarded smile she gave only to him. She excused herself from a conversation and wove through the crowd to his side. "You're supposed to be mingling," she teased, sliding her hand into his. "I'm admiring my girlfriend's success from a respectful distance." "Girlfriend," Arya tested the word, her smile whitening. "Still sounds surreal." "Better get used to it." Ji-won pulled a small box from his pocket. "Because I'm hoping to upgrade the title soon." Arya's breath caught. "Ji-won, don't panic," he said quickly. "I'm not proposing, not yet. You said we'd take it slow, and I'm respecting that. But I wanted you to have this." He opened the box to reveal a necklace, a delicate platinum chain with a pendant shaped like a crescent moon and star, the exact shape of Arya's birthmark. "It was my mother's," Ji-won explained. "She had it made after you arrived, said she wanted something to match your celestial mark. After you left, she wore it every day until she died. Then I kept it, waiting to give it to you when I found you." Tears streamed down Arya's face as Ji-won fastened the necklace around her neck. The pendant rested just above her heart, warm from his hands. "It's perfect," Arya whispered. "You're perfect," Ji-won kissed her temple. "And when you're ready, when we're both ready, I'm going to propose properly, with a ring and a speech, and probably a lot of embarrassing crying." "I'll hold you to that," Arya said, laughing through her tears. They stood together, watching the gallery crowd celebrate, and Arya thought about the journey that had brought them here. The cruelty and confusion, the revelations and reconciliations, the slow, careful building of something neither of them had expected to find. She touched the birthmark on her shoulder, the celestial mark that had changed everything. "Do you think your parents know that we found each other, that we're happy?" she asked quietly. Ji-won pulled her closer. "I think they've known all along. I think they've been guiding us here the whole time. Every choice, every wrong turn, every moment of pain, it was all leading us back to each other." "That's very poetic for a former crime boss." "You bring out my romantic side." Arya laughed and kissed him, not caring that they were in public, not caring about the curious glances from gallery guests. She kissed him like he was her home and her future and the answer to questions she hadn't known to ask. Because the truth was, they weren't just foster siblings reconnected. They were not just employer and employee who found common ground. They were two people who'd been torn apart by circumstance and brought back together by fate, who'd chosen to build something new from the ruins of the past. They were family by history and lovers by choice. And that was the most beautiful thing of all. Thank you for going on this journey with Arya and Ji-won. Thank you for believing that love can grow from the most broken beginnings. Thank you for proving that complicated love stories matter. Subscribe for my next emotional roller coaster. What story should I tell next? A. The bodyguard's secret love. B. The rival CEO's arranged marriage. C. The doctor who saved his enemy. Or D. The hacker's dangerous obsession. Comment A, B, C, or D below.